Often when we deal with businesses, the one thing that really sets it apart from another business, doesn't matter whether the products are superior, it doesn't matter whether they are the best. It doesn't matter. Any of that doesn't matter unless the experience is great. So often you'll find that when you deal with a business, that it's the experience that makes you stick with that business and that makes you want to do business with that business. But often we neglect to also think about, but what is the experience inside of the business? And today my guests are Guy Holwill and Zeyn Ally from Fairbairn Consult, and really looking forward to a great conversation with them to discuss how they've redefined advisor and client relationships by putting experience at the heart of their business model, and not only experience, but respect. So looking forward to a great episode. Good morning. Warm welcome back to episode 36 of season 5. Well, this year is just flying by now. Now it's all downhill, full speed ahead. I get images of Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. Like things are just speeding away from us at the moment. But all good, really excited. Yesterday I had the opportunity to speak to a group of advisors here in Pretoria. Yes, that's where I am at the moment. I'm in Benoni, but yesterday I was in Pretoria talking to a group of advisors around, whether they are ready for 2025 and what are some key things to think about when they are planning for next year. So yeah, that was a great experience, and it was nice to be able to be there. Today we continue the conversation on client experience, but now we're taking it a level further. And as you saw, the title for today is Treating Advisors Fairly. And I've got Guy Holwill and Zeyn. Zeyn, I hope I'm saying your surname correctly. I just realized I never asked you before we started, but I've got it as Ali. It could be Ali. I'm not sure, but you will correct me. I'm very happy with that. But we've got them here today, and going to be talking about what they're doing at Fairbairn Consult in order to really put the advisor at the heart of what they do, because they've realized that if you want to create great client experiences, you also need to create great advisor experiences. So what does that mean? We're going to delve into that. Really going to have some frank conversations, and looking forward to a great episode. But of course, why would I do this alone? That's not fun. I've got Leilani from the FBI. You all know Leilani by now. She's got all the latest, greatest news for us about the profession. And then we also have Razan back this morning. Razan talking about modern marketing and the outlook for 2025. So looking forward to a great episode. Also, we have David Kopp in the house. Today, David's talking about why are you building a business? Good question to ask. So looking forward to that. I've got 2 announcements, short ones. And then I'm going to get into conversation today. And I do want to encourage you to please participate, ask your questions, share your views and opinions, share your experiences. Maybe some of the things we'll talk about today is something that has happened to you or something that you've experienced before. Or maybe you say, well, but I've only had a great experience. Please share that with us this morning, participate. And we look forward to seeing you get involved. But before we get started, let me go and say a warm good morning to all of you. First in the house, Terence Tobin. Good morning, Terence. Nice to see you. Good morning, Cindy. Nice to see you as well. Nice to see you. We've got Winston. Good morning, Winston. Nice to see you, bud. Harry, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Renee, good morning. Nice to see you. We've got Greg. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, Neil. Hope you are flying the flag there in Cape Town. Willem Bester, goedemorgen. Nice to see you as well. Aloise, good morning. Nice to see you. Stephen Fish, good morning. I told Stephen the other day when he won another book, I said, oh, you're a lucky fish. Anyway, Krishna, good morning. Nice to see you. Awesome. Elna, goeiemorgen. Lekker om jou te sien. Ferry, goeiemorgen. Wat gaan goed aan Bloem. Manet, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. Arun, good morning. Nice to see you as well. It's not getting too hot there in Paul. I don't know what the weather is like, actually. Francis, goeiemorgen. I look forward to seeing you a little bit later. Johan Basson, goeiemorgen. Jan van Huisteen, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you as well. Johan, good morning. Hope you are doing well. Cloudy Pretoria. Yes, it's quite cooler here than 2 days ago. So fantastic. Grant Taylor, good morning. Nice to see you. Alfred, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you as well. Elon Reed Musk is back. Good morning. Hope you are doing well. We've got Gareth Hopkins. Good morning. Nice to see you as well. Johan Blumeres, good morning. Carol, goeiemorgen. Carol, hope you're doing well. Jamila, good morning. Jandre, goeiemorgen. Stefan, goeiemorgen. Salome, goeiemorgen. And Mariette, goeiemorgen. Alrighty, ladies and gents, fantastic. Let's get the show on the road. I'm looking forward to a great episode. Thank you for joining us live. And as I said, please participate. I'm going to share the hashtag a little bit later that you can enter into the chat in order to win the Financial Advisors Playbook at the end of today's episode. But on that, here's Lelani with the latest news.
Yes, good morning, Fransha and everybody. And Johan, indeed, it's a cloudy morning in Pretoria. Before I kick off, I just want to really congratulate the APSIPS team. APSIPS had their retail symposium yesterday, and it was magnificent to celebrate the day with them. And I also saw a few members of the FPI there as well. All right, let me jump into the news immediately. So, if you haven't seen it, if you're a customer of Standard Bank, Standard Bank confirmed that they indeed did have a data breach. And the same as many of the other financial services provider, it involves an employee. So this particular employee has access to the data. And what this employee did was to move some of the data to his or her own personal devices. And Standard Bank did confirm that none of the sensitive information like your PINs or your passwords were part of the information that the staff member actually extracted from the system. There's a report on News 24 that indicates that it's about 30,000 people or clients whose records were impacted, and Standard Bank hasn't confirmed anything yet. But in terms of the POPI Act, Standard Bank has reached out all to these clients on a personal basis. Standard Bank also confirmed that none of their systems were actually compromised and they will continue to try and improve their systems. Now, this data breach is short after the fraud situation they had, where there was somebody from Brazil who could actually access Standard Bank's accounts. All right, then from Sanlam, a very high level update. Sanlam has announced the extension of their current CEO's Paul Hanratty's term. His term has been extended, but during this article, they also highlighted all the successes that Paul had achieved during the time that he's CEO, and also some of his plans going forward. So we do know that they formed strategic partnerships with Sanlam Alliance, etc. They also wholly own Satrix. So it's quite interesting to see where Sanlam is going to go in the next decade. Then from the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, there's one or two updates that if you own your own financial services provider that you please need to take note of. But as normal, let's start with let's call it bad news first. So there was a press release that came out from the Financial Sector Conduct Authority with regards to NEFG. So the Financial Sector Conduct Authority has taken significant regulatory action against the key persons of NEFG administrators, also known as FAHMISA administrators, following the collapse 3 years ago. Now, this involves about 470 million of retirement savings that's unaccounted for. So the directors, Stefanus Cornelius Jansen van Rensburg and Frederick Young de Pre, were each fined 30 million and debarred for 30 years. A 2-year FSCA investigation revealed that the funds were given were invested in unregulated and high-risk entities without proper mandates and with conflicts of interest, where these directors had direct conflicts of interest. The FSA has handed these matters over to the National Prosecuting Authority and said they will support ongoing potential prosecutions. Then funeral policies, if you've missed it, the FSA and the Prudential Authority had issued a joint communication 7 of 2024, addressing concerns over the current regulatory framework for distributing funeral insurance in South Africa. This document outlines raised concerns by funeral parlors, such as high entry barriers and regulatory complexities, while also emphasizing the authority's concerns about unlicensed practices. So shareholders and stakeholders, anybody that is interested in this, any stakeholder, is invited to participate in the workshops that will run in 2025 to provide input into this matter. And if you're interested to provide input into this matter, you can email fsca.funerals@fpi.co.za or just go to the FSCA's website and indicate your interest. Then this is the one article that I spoke about that's important, Francois. The FSCA issued a communication 40 of 2024 reminding all accountable institutions under its supervision to complete and submit the directive to provide information. So if you only provided half information or if you haven't done this yet, you have from the 4th to the 29th of November via the FSCA's online portal to do this. And non-compliance may, I almost want to say, will result in administrative penalties. Then just in closing, Francois, a reminder from the FPI, if you haven't registered for Ethics and AI upcoming online workshop on the 27th of November, please do so. And then also please renew your membership. And for all the members who are not on debit orders, if you renew and pay in full before or on the 15th of December, you qualify for this year's fees and you don't have to pay the increased fee in 2025. With that, Francois, enjoy Gauteng. I'm glad to see or hear that you are here. And to everybody online, may you have a magnificent weekend. Goodbye, everyone.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Lily. That's fantastic. And then next up, we have Razan. And as I said, Razan is today talking about modern marketing, the outlook in 2025. And here she is with Brandworks.
Good morning and a warm welcome to another installment of exclusive Digital Savvy Advisor series, only here on Brandworks and brought to you by ProfileMe. Now, many people are already asking me, what does the marketing trends look like for next year? And if I can sum it up in a few words, it would be tone deaf is out. In 2025, tone deaf content won't cut it. Now, we're coming off a year of really, really big shifts. South Africa's election, two-part ongoing conflicts, the US elections, celebrities, and Elon Musk taking the political stage. It's all very, very confusing, even sometimes contradictory. And my gut feel is that in 2025, people are going to be looking for more than just polished marketing. They're going to want substance, clarity, and relevance. There's a sense that a craving for truth in the messaging people allow in, and they're not just looking for professionals who talk at them, but those who connect with them. Now, people are already caught between just deciding how they themselves must feel about many polarized issues going around and between navigating many polarized mouthpieces telling them what to feel. Now, for financial advisors, I think especially, this means it's time to step up as voices of reason and trust and calm in the storm. So these are my top 4 trends to look at. They're by no means the only ones, but these are the ones that are top of mind for me. I'd love to hear your comments. Tell me what you think or disagree in the comments. And these are my top 4. Number 1, distrust in mainstream media and traditional authorities and establishments, even organizations. I think in 2025, we can expect to see a continued distrust in mainstream media, and this counts for ads and content marketing too. So this means the marketing that you're putting out to, people are going to be questioning it. People are tired of being told what to think and what products to buy without the context of how and why it will impact them personally. They will be looking to professionals who can provide clarity, not by prescribing feelings, but by illuminating consequences. Now, this doesn't require flash or fanfare. It just requires being candid, intentional, and unwavering in your focus on your client's best interests. Number 2, real relatable content. It's not about perfection. It's about connection. For example, recently a financial advisor that should typically not be an unlikely candidate as a social media star shared a TikTok on two-pot, and it unexpectedly went viral. Said professional amassed hundreds of thousands of followers quickly, even a sponsorship deal. Now, the video wasn't a marketing masterpiece at all, but it worked because it felt real and it was time relevant. Now, in 2025, I think clients don't want perfect. They want connection, as I said, truth. It's less about high production and more about genuine, honest delivery. And here also for you, a great opportunity to get your clients to share their real life stories. Go get those videos and go put those stories out to your clients. Number 3, AI generated content fatigue. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, the words moreover and furthermore will never, ever be the same. Now, I'm not saying generating content with AI is bad. I do it myself. I'm saying we need to be really wary, because instead of better quality content, what we're sitting with is just more content that is the same. So it's very difficult to navigate that, and people are just going to tune out. So we've all seen this. AI content has exploded. It has produced endless streams of generic original thought. And the challenge here for you isn't just standing out from the sheer quantity of content. It's also about creating messages that cuts through this noise with purpose, empathy, and clarity. Messages that saves your clients time and adds value. So aim for short, honest, and personalized messages instead of perfectly polished, empty words that are also long and lengthy to read and digest. Get to the point. Number 4, hypothetical scenario fatigue. Now, for decades, marketing has heavily leaned on hypothetical scenarios, the what ifs and the worst case futures. And while these are essential to talk about, they've been overused and they're becoming more and more ineffective. Now, instead of talking about what if something happens to you, will your loved ones be protected, instead of alluding to the point, focus on the here and now. Clients want you to meet them where they are right now. And it's as simple as addressing the issue directly. If you don't have life insurance today, here are the impacts you are, as my client, facing. It's a more relatable approach that grounds the conversation in the present and makes it more actionable and meaningful. So, in summary, I think 2025 is poised to be a transformative year in both technology and marketing, and in marketing technologies. And people will want not just relevance, but resonance. So for financial advisors, this means leaning into honest messaging that cuts through the hypothetical and truly meeting clients in their present realities. So just to recap those 4, distrust in mainstream media, traditional authorities, and establishments. Number 2, people will want real, relatable content. It's not about perfection, it's about connection. Number 3, AI-generated content fatigue, be wary. And number 4, hypothetical scenario fatigue. The what-ifs of today are already bad enough without being cryptic about the what-ifs of tomorrow. People want you to get to the point so that they can get helped. And that's all from me today. Have a wonderful weekend, and may the Booker clap it in Scotland on Sunday. Thank you. Over to you, Francois.
Thank you very much, Zeyn. Fantastic. I love those 4 things, and I agree wholeheartedly with them. There's one other one I would want to add, a 5th one. As you said, there's a long list of these things. So yeah, I hope you wrote all of those down, because they are absolutely incredible. And you've got to spend some time thinking about these things. And as I said yesterday, to people in that talk, you have to be intentional, and your action has to be aligned to where you want to go. So you got to spend time to think about this, and waiting for January is too late. Anyway, so next up we have David. David with Bulletproof Your Business is asking the question, why are you building a business? So here's David. David, sorry, it's not playing.
I think I'm in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bulletproof Your Business, brought to you by Fairbairn Consult. And today we're going to be talking about, why are you building a business? Okay, and just to say, it's not a question that you have to answer right at the beginning, although it is always good. We'll also be talking to those who have been in business for a while and are maybe thinking about where they are heading to next. So where did this topic come from? Well, I'm part of a global network for operational and business managers called the Business and Operations Network. And this week, we had a very interesting discussion in that many financial planning business owners have a great vision for what they do with their clients, with their teams, and even the lifestyle they want to live. But from an operational viewpoint and a business planning viewpoint, what are they actually building a business for? And we talk about it in terms of 3 strategies: scalability, sustainability, and sellability. If you have the answer to this question, are you building your business to sustain it, to scale it, or to sell it? These different strategies require a different approach. Knowing where you want to go provides clarity and allows you to allocate resources and people to the right areas of your business. So let's talk a little bit more about these strategies. The first one we're going to be talking about is sustainability. And this is about ensuring that you do the right thing from the beginning, or if you have been in for a while, taking a step back and going, what is the right thing for the business? It is about, when you have 20 clients, ensuring that you are dealing with them as if you have 150 clients. So what do I mean about this? Well, think about it. If you build a value proposition and you've started a new business, so you're doing everything for every single client, and anything they ask, you agree to, you do. You're available 24/7. You give them your cell phone number. You meet them at any time that they want to meet, whether it's 10 o'clock at night or during office hours. You jump in your car and drive to their business at a whim because you want to deliver a hands-on, high-touch service. Is that a sustainable model? So as you grow and as you bring more clients on board, is that sustainable? Will you be able to deliver the same level of service when you have 150 clients to those 20 clients? Think about it in terms of age and energy. Obviously, the younger you are, the more energy you have. As you get older, you might start looking back and going, well, I want to do something different, or I want to be different. It will be less sustainable because you won't have the energy to sustain what you're doing. You need to set those boundaries and consider what you are offering. Is it something that I can sustain and continue doing as I get busier or as I grow to the level that I want to be on? Just remember, it is always easier to add something at a later stage than to take it away. If they never had it to start off with, they'll never know what they're missing. So if you're not at the beginning of your journey and you have been working for clients and this is resonating with you, going, hang on a minute, I've got myself in a position saying that at the end of the day, I'm lacking energy and I'm just seeming to give more and not getting out of my business. You need to take a step back and put a plan in place to say, where do I want to be? What do I want my business to look like? What is sustainable and what do I need to do to get there? You can implement that plan immediately with new clients, and within existing clients, you need to work on a transition plan to transition them to the new way. It can be as simple as offering them a choice. Let's say if you've always visited them at your home, you can offer them a choice and saying, well, instead of visiting at your home, I'm going to offer you a virtual meeting. You can meet in my office or I can come to your home. But each one is going to require a different service offering. The next thing that we look at is scalability. And in a nutshell, scalability is about growth. When scaling, the processes should be designed that anybody can do it. If your processes have designed and you as the business owner are so intricately linked to them, you will never be able to extract yourself. It means that you will always have to be the business, and you won't have a business. You will have a practice that relies termly on you. In Gino Wickman's book, Traction, he talks about letting go of the vine. And the story goes along the line of a business owner is walking along the edge of the cliff and he falls down the cliff. About halfway down, he manages to grab hold of a vine. And as it's hanging there, he starts thinking and he decides to pray for the first time in his life. And so he looks up and says, is anybody up there? After a moment's silence, a voice booms down, yes, do you believe? And the business owner says, yes, I do. And the booming voice goes, well, then let go of the vine. After a few seconds, the reply from the entrepreneur, business owner comes back and says, is there anybody else up there? So as a business owner, in order to grow, you do have to let go of the vine. Knowing what your growth plan looks like and what is needed to achieve this makes it easier and less scary. Very importantly, when growing, you need to make sure that it is not done at the expense of client and team experience and the quality of your services. And having a well-structured, documented plan will help you get there. The last one is salability. So you may not be thinking that you will sell in a few years' time or never sell, but you never know what opportunity is going to be around the corner. So when we work with our clients, we always work with a mindset of we are building something to sell. So the business should have processes, infrastructure, and resources that if the opportunity arises, either whether it's planned or it comes out of left field, the business is ready to sell. This also helps make sure that the processes is built around the business and not the personality or the person. So the reality is having a clear vision and understanding of what you're trying to achieve and how you will get there as a business owner provides a better peace of mind, a less stressful working environment, and it will allow you to continue enjoying your business or get back to enjoying it if you're not there. And again, I can't leave you without the bright thought. And in honor of the first proper rains we've had in Gauteng for a while, did you know that a cloud weighs about 1 million tons? So it typically has a volume of around 1 kilometer cubed and a density of around 1.03 kilograms per meter cubed. So that's a density of around 4% lower than the air surrounding it, which is why it floats and it doesn't just fall on our heads. So thank you very much, and back to you in the studio, France.
Fantastic, and we are so well on time. So next up, I've just got 1.5 announcements. Here we go. Alrighty, so first up, let me give you a hashtag so that you can stand a chance to win the Financial Advisor's Playbook, which is the book we wrote up. I actually put my laptop on top of my books, so I can't show you the book, but by now, hopefully, you know what that looks like. So if you comment in the chat, hashtag Playbook, you can, or you will be, not can be, you will be added to the lucky draw that will happen live on the show at the end of today's show. And you will stand a chance to win that. And then we're going to do a second draw where you can win one of Kobus Klein's 4 books that he will also then be in touch with you in order to get that to you or to meet you for coffee and hand it over to you. So with that hashtag Playbook, put that in the chat and you will be entered into the draw automatically. Okay, fantastic. So then on Tuesday, we had Ascend, which is our annual summit. It's a morning event. And we really had some fantastic conversations. For those of you that did attend, thank you very much. We are the recordings are available on the same event platform. You use the same link that you used before, and you can access it there. You're still in CPD, so if you missed some of the sessions or you missed all of the sessions or whatever, you can still go and watch it. If you would like to, you can go and find out, or you can have a look at the agenda on our website and see what it was all about. And you can then have you can still purchase access to the recordings if you will. Just follow the ticketing process and we will then get the link to you as soon as you've done that. Anyway, so on that note, yes, we are sort of in the last part of the year, and we've really had some great successes this year, some great growth from a show point of view and all of that. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who joins us every single Friday. It's amazing. We've been doing this for 5 years now. We're going on our 6th year. And when we asked, should we have a season 6, the response was overwhelmingly yes. So we are already busy planning. We're going to, again, take things up a few notches and looking forward to just a brand new offering next year. Very familiar to what you're used to, but just going to up the production, and we're going to up a few other things. So looking forward to that. So keep an eye out of what's going to happen next year. Righty, if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe it's your first time here, please do consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything, and we don't even know that you particularly subscribe. We just see a number and see that now we've got so many subscribers, but it does help us quite a lot, particularly when we try and get guests onto the show. It does make a massive difference. So the more subscribers we have, the easier it is to get guests onto the show. So if you can help us out with that, that'll be absolutely amazing. And then just lastly, if you find value in today's discussion and all the segments and everything that we do, please hit the like button. Let us know that you enjoyed the episode and share it with your teams and your friends and your colleagues and everybody that works with you that can find value from this as well. Ladies and gents, next up, we have our conversation with Guy and Zeyn. Here we go. Guy and Zeyn, warm welcome to the show.
Hey, morning, others.
Thank you, Francois.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Guy. So, Guy, I'm just going to quickly start off with you. Maybe just a very brief introduction from you. You're both from Fairbairn Consult, but your role, Guy, just for maybe for those people that are here that don't know who you are.
So I guess if I was a bit younger, I'd refer to myself as the founder of Fairbairn Consult. Not that founders is a new concept, but it seems to be a sort of trendy thing to call yourself. I'm CEO. I'm ultimately responsible for running the business. It was kind of my idea around creating it, building a business that really will help advisors thrive in a Kofi environment where it's just going to become a hell of a lot more onerous to own a license.
Thank you very much. Zeyn, and then you've been with Fairbairn Consult just over a year or so. Tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Just a year this month. November has been a year.
Awesome.
So yeah, I joined Fairbairn Consult. Guy and I worked together before in one of the larger product provider houses. And we kind of circled back to each other. And I'm glad I'm here. I liked the value proposition and where Fairbairn Consult is going. That kind of appealed to me. So I'm glad I'm here. And I'm currently the commercial manager for Fairbairn Consult.
Okay, fantastic. Warm welcome, Zeyn. Guy, I'm going to start off with you. On Friday, it's Friday today. On Tuesday, you actually delivered a talk at Ascend about the fact that client experience is the new marketing, and that was quite an insightful one. It's one that you've also done at Humans Under Management in a similar way. So there's a lot of valuable insights that came from that. But I mean, where did this idea come from to focus more on client experience?
So I guess it's a long time coming. I suppose imagine a few people would have read Steve Jobs's book 10, 15 years ago, whenever that came out. And there was like a bit in there where they talked about his obsession over customer experience in Apple's world, right? Of things like the emphasis of the design around their products, around, if you recall the story in there, but where they literally redesigned the first Apple store the day before the launch because he was unhappy with the way people would experience it, right? It was something that in his view was just like utterly critical. And I mean, Apple's now, a pokey multi-trillion-dollar company. I mean, it's enormous. Similarly, I've read similar stuff around Jeff Bezos as well with Amazon, right? So these are huge behemoth businesses. But the one thing that seems to be common with them is this genuine obsession around customer experience, right? So I guess it was that. Then I heard a story, and the story went that a practice manager, so come back to our world, went to go and see an advisor, and the guy was quite sort of smug about the thing and said to her, well, so what are you going to tell me about my business that I don't already know? And her opening comment was, well, your coffee's shit. And it was like, it was just an absolute aha moment of, the first thing people experience when they come here is bad coffee, right? That you haven't even got close to giving any financial advice or anything at all, right? And that's a pretty awful experience. I mean, I'm a bit of a coffee snob, and the thought of going to someone, their office, and they're going to serve bad coffee again is a fairly terrifying thought, right? So, it kind of got me sort of thinking around that. And then I guess I just reflected on my own personal experience. And on Tuesday I told the story, but I told it at Humans Under Management. I've told it at 4 different conferences around my experience of buying a chef's knife and a sharpener for that knife. And this was 20 years ago. And very briefly, the store assistant talked me out of buying an expensive sharpener that if you didn't know what you were doing with it, you'd muck up the knife. And they talked me into buying a much cheaper one that I couldn't bugger the knife up with. And as a result of that, I've become a real advocate for that store. And I think therein is the key to the whole thing, right? No one asked me to give referrals. No one asked me to talk about the store. The fact that I had a really good experience in it, the fact that because of that, I became an advocate, and I've literally told thousands of people now about that great experience. I've got no connection to that store at all, and so I think therein is the sort of maybe the aha moment for me. Was just seeing that when you get client experience right, there's something in our DNA. There's something about us as people where we tell others about it, right? And as I've said in the talk, the converse is of course true as well, right? When you have a really crappy experience, you'll tell people about it as well. So yeah, I think it's really powerful. I mean, listen to Razan's stuff. It's not this polished marketing pitch type thing. It's a sincere endorsement from a friend or colleague or whatever, from someone who has a real human being. And I think that counts a lot for people today in every aspect of your life.
And Guy, I mean, I think again, it's a word that I've been saying a lot the last while, and that is that you have to be intentional, meaning that there needs to be a plan. You need to take action, right? And everything needs to be aligned. And one of the things that I think of people are finding hard at the moment is that, because some people had a fantastic in-person experience on the one hand. On the other hand, they now live in this hybrid virtual world where we haven't spent 1 minute thinking about how do I transfer, or how does this translate into an online experience. And basically, like you say, I think the equivalent of bad coffee is now a bad Zoom meeting, bad quality sound, bad quality video, those kinds of things. So although you want authentic, and although you want those kinds of things, the production quality of these things are still very, very important, but because that plays into that. So with that, just as a preamble, sorry, like I said, I was not gonna do that, but sometimes I can't help myself. I forgot to add some stuff. But why is it so important from your point of view that advisors specifically consider all of these things in terms of client experience when it comes to their clients?
So just think about yourself in any aspect of your life, right? When you're engaging any business, any professional, you're going to a store, whatever, right? Would you choose, if you're going to, let's make it digital, right? So you're going into an online store to go and buy something and you can't find the product you want, right? You got to the search functionality is terrible. That's a rubbish experience. It's hard work, right? You don't want it to be hard work. You want it to be easy. You want to be able to get to the thing that you're trying to get to with no pain at all. I mean, the whole thing with digital world and hybrid working now is it's about convenience, right? That you don't have to get in your car or get on a plane. I think how many times I've got on planes before. I mean, flipping hell, you're not going to do that every time. I mean, advisors today, there are certain meetings that you absolutely should be doing in person, but not everyone, right? And the efficiency you can get and the number of times that you can connect with a client in a year is so much higher if you're using a hybrid environment, right? I mean, I just think about myself with my financial planner. I mean, generally it's a midweek during the day engagement. My wife and I both dial in digitally. None of us get in the car and drive to the advisor's office. He doesn't it's quick and easy. I mean, if there was something significant we were going to change, then absolutely we would go and do that. But if it's just to review, everything's kind of everything the same. Yep, cool, all good, carry on, right? And I think that's so make it easy, make it convenient for people. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
Also, just maybe just like one last thing on client experience before I go to Zeyn, and we can start talking a little bit about advisor experience, is that when advisors start thinking about client experience, like how should they think? How should they approach it? Like how should they think about it?
Okay, so the way I think about it, and the way I spoke about it on Tuesday, is that client experience and it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what your business is, it's anchored in the core of what you do, right? So the analogy that I've used there was to talk about a restaurant. So a restaurant, the core is making food, right? And if your food's rubbish, there's nothing else you can do about it, right? As a financial advisor, your core is giving advice to clients, right? And implementing the most appropriate solutions for that particular client. And so no amount of good coffee can possibly ever compensate for crap advice, right? So that's key. So so technically you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be up to date around the different solutions as to what is out there, what you should be using or not. So that's absolutely front and center of what you're doing. Right? Once you've thought about the actual advice you're delivering, once you've thought about the way in which you're delivering it. On Tuesday, again, I spoke about the UK Personal Finance Society's power planning. Google it. It's really, really excellent in terms of the outcomes that you're trying to drive with clients in terms of just really relating themselves to their own financial position and their plan and what have you. So once you've got the core done, right? So the actual advice and the way that it's being delivered, then it's all the peripheral stuff, right? Then it's, do you serve nice coffee? It's, do you send out newsletters? Is it easy to read? Is it easy to follow? All of that good stuff, right? You're staff friendly, engaging, and all that lack of stuff. And then I think the one bit that's really hard, it's pretty hard, is that it's managing and understanding the client expectations. So are you doing the things your clients expect you to do? And a simple example is, you may not send out a quarterly newsletter or whatever, but your clients expect you to do so. Their friends are getting one from their advisors, and they go, well, it's really cool and interesting. They send us something topical. And so the way you've got to deal with that is, you have to ask people, what do you want? And it's, I think important there is, yes, you can have a fabulous introductory process of taking on clients, and at Humans Under Management, they spoke about this quite a bit. And I think that, it's really important. And so you might genuinely understand from day one what your client is looking for. And either you do or don't deliver those things, right? You might choose not to, right? You say, I'm not going to do that stuff because that's not what I do. And you manage the expectation. But your clients also change. Your clients also have conversations with their friends over time, and what they wanted 10 years ago may not be what they want today. And again, so you've got to ask, you've got to keep asking, because we all change, we all develop as time goes along. So yeah, I think that's the thing. Start with the core, the thing that, like, what it is you do, which in our world is you giving advice to clients, right? And you're implementing solutions that will help them achieve all those goals. Then look at the peripheral stuff that you offer. What does that look like? Is it a lacquer experience or not? And you just got to look at it from their experience, from their perspective, right? That my opening comment about the bad coffee. Just think about what happens if I was to walk in here, what would it be like? And then the last piece is understanding what are those expectations of your clients that you're not doing, and how could you do that?
Brilliant stuff. But now I've got Zeyn, I'm going to come to you now, guys. So one thing that I'm now sitting here thinking about is that I think the moment we talk about client experience, we immediately think about the end client. But you, as Guy Holwill, the CEO of Fairbairn Consult, have a very different client.
Yeah, so they do. I mean, okay, so I suppose I've read a bit. So Richard Branson had a comment once about the businesses that say they are client-centric is just nonsense. As a business, look after your staff and let your staff look after the clients. And I fundamentally believe in that, right? So as a brokerage, as an FSP, we have a whole bunch of phased responsibilities to clients, and I understand that. I get it, right? I understand that. I don't duck any of those responsibilities whatsoever. But I don't know those clients. I don't know those people, right? I don't know the hopes and fears and dreams and goals and all that stuff. Our advisors do. Our advisors have had those really deep personal conversations with people. I can see client, whoever, product holding, I can go and I can read a record of advice. That's not a person. That's a phased document, right? And so our whole thing is, right, what are we doing to look? My client, Zeyn's clients, are our advisors. I mean, absolutely, and so we think really hard about that. How do we do that? And as a business, we don't have any of our own products. We haven't got our own funds or anything like that. And so our only way to be successful, to make any money whatsoever, is by advisors being successful. So we've got like a massive vested interest in that. The more successful the people are, the more successful we are, and literally everything kind of flows, from that point.
Brilliant. Zeyn, I want to bring you in here. Can you maybe share some examples of what you have done from an advisor experience point of view, in order to really create these things that Guy is talking about, and to ensure that that success that's so critical, obviously for the business and for the advisor and for the client, is sort of realized through this.
There are a few things, but I think it all starts with our mindset, right? And we've adopted the phrase treating advisors fairly. This is the cornerstone of what we've built and will continue to build in Fairbairn Consult. We've also created a values cloud in consultation with our advisor group that guides us in terms of the feeling that we're trying to create for advisors. And I use the word feeling quite a lot because oftentimes people won't remember what you say, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. So this helps us define the feeling that we are trying to create for our advisors, their staff, the head office staff, and ultimately the end client, because that would definitely filter down. So we want to shift from I want that feeling to I get that feeling. So from a head office perspective, we ask ourselves continuously, are we creating this feeling for our advisors? And that's the standard that we hold ourselves to. So we treat all of our advisors and product providers with the respect that we expect to be shown. And transparency in our contracts and fee structure. You'll hear the word transparency being used a lot. It's also quite bold in our values cloud. Our contracts, we believe, need to be simple and easy to understand, with no hidden terms and conditions, no restraints of trades. So let me just say that again, because often when I sit down with new advisors that potentially want to join us and us talk about things like no restraints of trades, they sometimes don't believe me. So I'll say it loud and proud, we have no restraint of trades. Fairbairn Consult has built a business on advisors and it's an entrepreneurial driven model. We are not in the business of acquiring clients. Those are your clients. So we don't want to be sneaky and sneak that into our contracts. We don't have any restraint of trades. We help advisors that want to join us, and a lot of these advisors that come to us and have these initial conversations with us don't even know that they've signed a restraint of trade as part of the onboarding pack. And we try to get them to help them unpack this and understand it. So we push hard to get people up and running is another thing that we do, because we know our advisors can't earn until they get codes and etc. from product providers. So not earning is not a great experience. So we've geared our back office, our head office staff to be slick, in that we get these codes, get them settled as fast as we can. We've implemented new systems to get clients loaded onto our CRM system fairly quickly. We help create these clients for them so that they can get on with the business of actually giving advice.
Awesome. Obviously, there's some key ingredients when it comes to an advisor, just like there is with a normal client experience, like to the end clients. There are certain things that you want to make sure is there. But what are some of the key ingredients that you have? And there's a particular reason why I asked this question is because, like, I want the audience that's listening and watching us this morning is to also think about, like, what are you doing from this in your own business's perspective, or maybe the business that you're in, what is happening from that perspective? There's obviously many reasons why we asked this, but from a Fairbairn Consult point of view, what were some of the key ingredients for you when you put together this advisor experience?
Yeah, that's another good question, Francois. So there are a few things, and I'll start off with again, transparent fee structure. So we have experienced that there are FSPs out there that have different fee structures for some of their advisors. We don't want to go down that route. Our fee structure is exactly the same for all of our advisors. We don't have 90% of our advisors cross-subsidizing the rest. That's one. Second thing would be equal access to resources. And this is something that we're very, very deliberate about. We don't have rather fat layers of regional management. We don't believe in that. We want to keep our business sleek and operational. So we want our advisors to be able to pick up the phone and call a Guy Holwill, the CEO of the business. Pick up the phone and call a Dirk Janssen van Rensburg, who's our COO. Pick up the phone and talk to me. We want direct access, so equal access to resources for all of our advisors. We have 4 fair performance metrics, and I'll get to that a little bit later in terms of how we measure performance in our business. We have a collaborative work structure. So we've got WhatsApp groups set up for risk, short-term, medical aid. We have an advice council, which is voluntary, that has a mixed blend of of different advisors with different experience levels that can assist our advisors in answering complex questions. If advisors bring new ideas to us, we're very open for that. We have a few different franchise setups in our business, so we encourage entrepreneurship. And by doing this, we're actually encouraging a client-centric model eventually for our advisors. We have a diverse and inclusive culture, so we've got all ages, races, and experience levels. And we provide regulatory and compliance support, so we take away the headache and pain of you worrying about all these things together with our master colleagues. We provide all regulatory and compliance support. Work-life balance, how do we help there? That's quite critical for us. So we're constantly exploring ways to incorporate AI into our advice process for our advisors. This will allow advisors the opportunity to save time and focus on what they're actually good at, which is advising their clients. And by focusing on these ingredients, we believe that we create an environment that values and supports financial advisors, and this ultimately benefits the clients. The powerful role that a financial advisor plays in the life of their clients cannot be overstated. And our respect for that role is paramount to our success now and into the future. And as Guy said, we fundamentally understand that there are legal requirements to clients. And as Guy alluded to earlier, the reality of it is Zeyn, Guy, and Dirk, and John, we don't know these clients personally. We don't know if somebody is going through a divorce or somebody is about to give birth to a child. So it becomes important that we make the advisors' lives as easier as possible and help them think about their customer experience differently and ultimately benefiting the end client.
Brilliant stuff. I mean, obviously, and Zeyn mentioned this earlier, that respect is one of the big things. And I mean, if I think about you in a profession, that's where we're already there. I don't think we're still headed to a profession. I think there's a large part of the industry that's already professionalized. Sure, there's some laggards that will get there someday. But ultimately, we're all very professional. We care deeply about clients. We're really interested and all of that. So, I mean, I get the sense that respect is something that, is something that we all practice and we all do. And I wonder, just maybe, Guy, if that is that the experience, though? There's an expectation that we respect each other. There's an expectation that, ultimately, I remember fondly when I was at another company where, one of the consultants that was in my branch came to me and said, "Look, I have to tell you, I'm going for an interview somewhere else." I said, "Well, that's perfectly fine. I will never ever stand in the way of somebody who needs another opportunity, or who wants another opportunity, or wants to build a life in a different way. Why would I ever do that?" kind of thing. But then, you experience other things very differently yourself in other places. So, I mean, from that point of view, is respect really something that's experienced across the profession and the industry, Guy?
So you'd think so, right? And Francois, you'd think so. I don't know how people imagine they can run a business by treating their staff badly, right? I don't know how they think that business is ever going to thrive. I can't join those dots. But it happens. I mean, I met with an advisor yesterday evening, and I mean, he's being treated extremely poorly, leaving an IFA firm. I'll give you some examples, and these are real examples. This is not hypothetical. This really has happened. Because, the hypothetical ones, I've heard stories, but I've never seen it, where they write a letter to the client about the advisor and allude to a drinking and gambling problem and all that kind of stuff. I've never seen that. I've heard of that, but maybe it doesn't happen. But so we really did have an advisor who joined us from a large company with its own trust company. The advisor referred a client to a different trust company, and on the back of that, they debarred her. She had in writing from their in-house trust company that they didn't take estates under a certain size, and this one was below that size. So what was she meant to do? Tell the client, bugger off, right? And they debarred her for that. Well, they debarred her once she left. they were very happy to keep her there while she was still there. But as soon as he left, then here we go, petty debarment for you. We see threats all the time. We frequently see people being threatened around stuff. And a lot of people are genuinely afraid of the management of their businesses. And again, I go, how are those people possibly doing great work for you today when they're terrified of you? I mean, for goodness sake, we definitely see crappy letters. I say, I haven't seen the one about a physical, real one about the gambling thing. I was chatting to an advisor, literally joined us a couple of days ago. The old FSP has said to her in writing, we will not pay any commission that comes in to you post you leaving. However, we will gladly send you any clawbacks that come along. And she wanted to know, is that normal? I said, and because they sent her a whole thing about legally, you're no longer a rep on the license, so there's no basis to pay you commission. And that's right, that's correct. There is no basis to pay commission. But what a lot of businesses would do is you would offset debits and credits and you would pay it across as a referral fee, right? A lot of people would do that. It comes down to, I said to her, it's, legally they're right. It comes down to how do you choose to run your business? Are you lack of people or not? I've had one advisor, he just said to me, I'm so sick and tired of being treated as a unit of production. Like, I just want to be treated as a person. I was like, oh man, that's not lacquer. We've had people where the old FSP refused to take them off the license, just to like mess, and you've got 14 days in terms of phase to do it, and eventually we have to go to the FSCA and say, can you please instruct these people to do what phase requires them to? They just try to be as difficult as possible. So it really does happen a lot. There are a lot of advisors who haven't read their contracts, and that's their responsibility, right? You should read your own contract. However, if you're going to put in a really nasty condition in there, right, like a very onerous restraint of trade, I think it's fair to point that out to somebody, right? I think it's reasonable that you should be saying, listen, just so that you're aware, right, you are not going to be able to advise your wife going forward if you leave here. Right? She's going to have to go and find another advisor, right? Like that might be a material term that you want to point out, and people don't, they sure as hell don't do it. So yeah, I think it's more common that people advisors get treated really poorly, I think.
And it's sad. It's I can also say lots about that, but let's for time's sake, I'm not going to at this point. But it's real, and I'm just sitting here thinking, Guy, that probably these people also moan about the same things when they appoint people, that they have to sit with the same issues, kind of thing, which is the weird thing. Yeah. Zeyn, I want to come back to you just quickly. And how do you measure success in the business or performance, when it comes to advisors? Because I mean, as Guy just alluded, like you don't want to feel like a unit of production. So how do you measure whether this advisor experience is having an impact on the advisor and the business and so on?
Thanks, Francois. So I think for starters, for matters like compliance, we have minimum standards, and obviously we simply won't accept one or two advisors threatening the livelihoods of hundreds of others, right? So in terms of production or commission or income, we are an entrepreneurial driven model, which means that each advisor determines their own income levels. In terms of recognition, we have the Extra Mile Club. I'm going to say that slowly, Extra Mile Club, not to be confused with the Mile High Club. Francois, that would be a whole different podcast. So the Extra Mile Club is as far as we know, is the only program that measures, that does not measure production, but rather looks at the quality of advice, the practice management principles that you've embedded in your practice, and your adherence to your compliance process. This year at our conference was the first year that we handed out certificates at our conference to all our Extra Mile Club winners. And it was an awesome to see people post them on their LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So that's the only recognition program we have is the Extra Mile Club, and it does not measure production.
Sorry for that. Fantastic. So then lastly, maybe Guy, in closing as well, when you did your client experience keynote, at Ascend, you spoke about getting feedback, and even in the beginning when we started, you were talking about that you've got to ask your client, right? So how do you get feedback from your advisors in order to figure out what should be in your advisor experience and what's working and what's not working?
Okay, so we ask them, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. So we run a small number of very deliberate surveys with people. We understand that people don't particularly like filling in surveys, but if you do something with the information that comes to you, it's incredibly useful. And so we question around sort of what we offer. We ask very open-ended questions deliberately, like, what do you love most about this? What do you hate most about this? What's the one thing we should add or take away, or whatever it is, right? And we get great feedback around that. We at our conference, which Zeyn mentioned, I mean, we tested that, and this is important. So this is an example of what you do with it, right? We ask questions like, what is the thing you like least? And so we try to really encourage mingling and people to talk to each other. So we don't want to sort of sit down dinner where you sit and talk to two people the whole night, right? So, but there are people who said that they really wanted like a full sit down meal, right? So that wasn't intuitive to me, but if that's what they want, next year they're going to get a full sit down meal, right? We can change that. If that's the thing that's ruining the experience for some people because they don't like sort of finger food type thing, which say that works for me, but I'm just me, right? And it's so you ask people, you ask them what it is they like, you ask them what do they want, and in many cases what you find then is actually it's damn easy to do that. And how cool is it, right? When you ask your client about something, they tell you they want something different, and then you deliver it. Just think of that from your own perspective, that the business actually listened to you, right? The worst thing you can do is ask for feedback and then do nothing with it. And even it doesn't mean you have to adopt every idea. In some cases, it's going back to us. Say, listen, we hear you, we thought about it, and we're not going to do it for these reasons, right? But so feedback it's really important. And I'm now the guy, because I do these surveys and use the information. I'm the person who fills in all the surveys that come from other people. Hopefully they use them as enthusiastically as we do. Yeah, that's it.
I just wanted to say you are literally the guy. There's no way getting away from that. Guy and Zeyn, thank you very much. I think this is only a starting conversation, right? I think this is something that you can go really a lot deeper. I think what we tried to do today is to bring attention to the fact that if you're running an FSP and you're running a business, have you thought about the advisor experience? Have you thought about that? And also obviously to bring, so this is what Fairbairn Consult is doing. So if you're not happy where you are, then obviously here's an option for you to consider. I'm going to say that out loudly. That was not part of the things we discussed, but I think it's important. Whenever, and I have the real fortunate position to talk to a lot of people when they come to this point to say, look, now I need to move, or I need to change, or whatever the case may be. And the first thing I always tell them is like, look at the people. Who's running that business? Who are the people you're going to be engaging with? Forget about the value proposition. Forget about all of the other amazing stuff and the technology and the leads and all that stuff that's being promised. Look at the people and see whether those are people that you can get along with and you can do things with. That's step number one. If that answer is yes, you can worry about all the other stuff. And I get the sense, Guy, that you are lack of people, like as you said, and that's important. There's not many of these around, to be honest. You don't see it as a cold-blooded business. That's the sense I'm getting. I'm getting the sense that this is about the people. It's about your advisors, and it's about their clients. So from my side, thank you very much for an insightful conversation. I really enjoyed it. And then Zeyn, also thank you very much for sharing a little bit, opening the veil and just showing us what's happening, on the other side. I really appreciate that. And with that, thank you very much for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks, Francois. Thanks. Thanks for the kind words. Really appreciate that. Lekker.
Pleasure. Thanks, man. All right. So I actually wanted to type in the chat to say that, we're just going to run a few minutes over. Please don't run away. We're going to do the draw now. I see most people have stayed. Luckily, for some reason, the YouTube think that it's spam when I said that. But anyway, be that as it may. Some good insights, right? It makes you think about, this is so important when you run your own business. Like, what are you really focusing on? What's really important to you? And what would be important for you if you were in that position and not the one running the business? I think this is such an important conversation. So really loved every second of it. So next up, we are going to do the live draw. So we've got 33 people. If you haven't commented yet, #playbook, maybe you missed it. but you can comment that and you will go into the draw. The first draw I'm going to do is going to be for the Financial Advisors Playbook, and then the second draw will be for one of Kobus's book. You choose which one of the four you want. And then the process is that I will send you a link that you need to complete your information. The one will go to Kobus, one will come to us, and we will then sort out your book. Alrighty, so with that, here is the first draw, and who will it be? I don't have obviously my chairs and all my fancy stuff today, but let's see who's going to win today. And Stefan de Lange. Stefan, congratulations. Well done. So you won the Financial Advisors Playbook. I will be in touch. I'm not sure if we are connected. If we're not, please just get in touch with me via LinkedIn. And then we can sort that out. And then the second draw will be, who's going to be the winner here? Let's see who will win this time around for one of Kobus's books. There we go. Alfred, fantastic. And Alfred, you are not far from where Kobus is, I'm pretty sure. So the Alfred meeting, yeah, Alfred, you are based here. You're all the way over in KZN, if I remember correctly. So you are a bit far from where Kobus is, but be that as it may. Thank you very much. I will be in touch with you. So next week, my guest is Errol Meyer. Errol recently wrote a new book, and which he launched. I'm going to talk to him about where he is now, what he's going to do, and then also obviously a lot about the book. It's all about business financial planning. So looking forward, or planning for your business. Really looking forward to that, and some good insights. Until then, stay safe, be blessed and prosper. And thank you very much for being here. And remember to continue to raise the bar. Love you lots. Bye-bye.